Hi everyone, this is Anna of Crafty Anna Studio. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I will be showing you an easy painting technique using the Altenew metallic watercolor pan set. I will also be using one of Altenew's Paint a Flower stamp sets in this video. Hopefully by the end, you will see how metallic watercolors practically do all the work for you in stepping up your card making to another level. You do not have to be an expert watercolorist to make these stunning creations. Before I jump into the painting, here's a quick look at the watercolor pan set. The Altenew metallic watercolors come in this beautiful black tin case with the Altenew logo printed in front. There are 14 stunning colors in this particular set. I will swatch out the colors later on in the video so you can see the vibrancy of the paints. This set also comes with a high quality water brush with flexible plastic bristles. I will also be using this Paint a Flower stamp set called the Clematis. This set has a gorgeous cluster of flowers. There are also a lot of sentiments in this set that go perfectly with the scripted word beautiful. Before I start swatching, I will need a glass of clean, clear water, some paint brushes, a water dropper, and paper towels. I will remove the pans from the tin as it will be easier to fit them into the frame of my video. I will be using some thick black cardstock to swatch out my colors. I will not be using the water brush at this time. Instead, I will use an inexpensive brush by Faber-Castell. I want to be able to show you that you don't need expensive or fancy brushes for this technique. To activate the pigments, I squeezed a few drops of water into each well using the dropper. As I swatch out the paints, I will turn up the music and put the names of the colors on the bottom left side of the screen. Ooh, I just love how vibrant and opaque these watercolors are. I will be doing some heat embossing, so I'll be using my MISTI to position my stamp. Here I have regular black cardstock, thick enough to hold a little water without warping. I placed the floral stamp at an angle, as you can see here. I positioned it on the top right-hand side of the cardstock so that I can easily rotate the panel to stamp on the other half. I prepped my panel with my anti-static powder bag, which I keep in a calling card case. I tapped it gently onto the cardstock. This will prevent the embossing powder from sticking to areas that I don't want it to. Next, I took some embossing ink, which is a sticky ink, and tapped it generously onto the stamp. I closed the door onto my MISTI and gave it a good press. I turned the cardstock panel 180 degrees and placed it back down on the corner of my MISTI. Then I repeated the process. I keep all my frequently used embossing powders in these little containers, which I picked up in one of those Dollar Tree type stores. I chose the antique gold embossing powder, also from Altenew. This is my most frequently used embossing powder next to the white and clear. I am using a coffee filter to catch the embossing powder as I sprinkle it onto the cardstock. I tapped off the panel gently to shake off the excess powder, then I repeated it on the other corner. After I finished, I folded the coffee filter in half and funneled it back into the container. I let my heat gun get good and hot for about 30 seconds before taking it onto the card panel, starting at the back before bringing it to the front. This prevents the cardstock from warping and also keeps the embossing powder from flying all over the place. If you do not have embossing powders, you can still create a similar look with a pigment ink, which I will show you towards the end of my video. Before starting, I first took my water dropper and added a few drops of water into the paint. I will be using metallic jade for the leaves of the flower cluster. After waiting a few seconds, I took my brush to the paint and swished it around to activate the color. Then I took the brush, which was loaded with paint, onto the card panel, starting at the base of each leaf. Since the image can be a little confusing, I started to lay down color to mark the areas of what I thought were the leaves. The embossed image really helps in keeping the paints inside the lines. Though metallic paints are fairly thick in consistency, I find they are much easier to handle than regular watercolor paints. After painting some of the leaves, I dipped my brush in the water, tapped off the excess on a paper towel, and proceeded to fill in the rest. I will speed this up a little bit and turn up the music and come back when I'm done with the leaves. For a two-tone effect on my flowers, I will use copper for the middle of the flowers and amethyst for the outer petals. I activated the paints again, took my brush, gave it a good swish around, and used the edge of the pan to remove any of the excess pigment. First, I started in the middle of the flower, just painting it around the center area. If I felt like I picked up too much pigment, I added a touch of water to the tip of my brush. Then I washed my brush and picked up the amethyst color. I started laying down the color carefully, moving the pigment towards the copper color, just barely touching it. I did this for all the other flowers, starting on the outer part of the petals, moving inwards. To blend in the colors a little more, I took some water to my brush and lightly touched the areas where the two colors merged. This helped softening the transition between the colors. As I paint the other corner, I will turn up the music, speed it up just a little, then come back and show you how I finished the painting. Now that I'm done with the painting, I will add some splatters. I took a microfiber cloth and laid it down onto my work surface. Then, I added a few water drops onto the gold metallic paint, giving it a good swish to make sure I had a lot of pigment on the brush. Then I went to town splattering away. As I mentioned earlier in my video, here's the card I made without the heat embossing. It's still unfinished, but I just wanted to show you the difference between the two. I stamped the flowers using the Enchanted Gold Pigment ink. Then watercolored them with the same colors as my heat embossed card. Here's the one with the heat embossing. As you can see, the outlines are more detailed. The one with the pigment ink looks a little less detailed. Which one do you like better? Let me know in the comments below. Here's a final look at my finished card. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I hope you were inspired. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed my video, subscribe if you'd like to see more. Till next time, bye!